Good day, here are the headlines from the Philippine News Agency. We start with the weather watch with not just one but two tropical cyclones inside and outside the Philippine area of responsibility. Pag-asa is monitoring tropical depression Hener, which has intensified after developing from a low-pressure area near Casiguran, Aurora this morning. Hener was last spotted 325 kilometers northeast of Casiguran with maximum sustained winds of 55 kilometers per hour near the center and wind gusts of up to 70 kilometers per hour. The tropical depression has slowed down and is moving west-southwest. Hener is expected to make landfall on either Isabela or Aurora province within the next 24 hours before leaving the Philippine area of responsibility by Wednesday. Tropical cyclone wind signal number 1 is hoisted over Cagayan, including Babuyan Islands, Isabela, Quirino, Nueva Vizcaya, Apayao, Kalinga, Abra, Ifugao Mountain Province, Benguet, Ilocos Norte, Ilocos Sur, La Union, Pangasinan, Zambales, Tarlac, Nueva Ecija, Aurora, and the northern portion of Quezon, including Pulilio Islands. Pag-asa also spotted a tropical storm with international name Pulasan outside Par. Pulasan was last seen 2,205 kilometers east of southeastern Luzon with maximum sustained winds of 65 kilometers per hour near the center and wind gusts of up to 80 kilometers per hour. It has a small chance of entering Par. Hener and Pulasan are forecast to enhance the southwest monsoon. This will bring monsoon rains over northern Palawan, Occidental Mindoro, Antique, and Negros Occidental, and occasional rains over the rest of Mimaropa, Western Visayas, and Negros Island region. Meanwhile, Metro Manila, Zamboanga Peninsula, Barm, Soxargen, Caraga, Northern Mindanao, and the rest of Luzon and Visayas will experience cloudy skies with scattered rains and thunderstorms. The rest of Mindanao will have partly cloudy to cloudy skies with isolated rain or thunderstorms. A fire after another in the country's capital. The fire that broke out at the Philippine General Hospital in Ermita, Manila earlier this morning was declared out. The Bureau of Fire Protection said the first alarm was raised at 6:07 a.m. and reached second alarm at 6:21 a.m. It was declared fire out at 7:08 a.m. The Manila Fire District said the fire started at the mezzanine of the main building after an air conditioning unit reportedly overheated. The PGH audio-visual room and outpatient department were affected by the fire. No one was reported injured while minimal damage to property has been logged. The Department of Health meanwhile advised government hospitals to stand by to receive patient transfers from PGH following the fire incident. DOH Secretary Teodoro Herbosa also said all ambulances going to the PGH are advised to coordinate for possible diversion to other hospitals. On Saturday, at least 2,000 families have been displaced by the massive fire that razed the tenement area in Aroma Compound in Barangay 105 in Tondo District. Mayor Hani Lacuna and Vice Mayor Yul Servo Nieto led city officials and visited the victims and extended aids. An initial 1,000 families moved to 3 evacuation centers where the city government provided food and temporary shelter. The fire erupted around 11 a.m. on Saturday and quickly spread out to neighboring communities and buildings made of light materials. The BFP raised Task Force Bravo at 1:33 p.m. and sent at least 28 fire trucks to the scene. A helicopter from the Philippine Air Force 505th Search and Rescue Brigade also helped douse the fire. National Maritime Council Chairperson Executive Secretary Lucas Bersamin lauds the commitment and hard work of the crew aboard BRP Teresa Magbanua, the Coast Guard's largest and most expensive vessel. The BRP Teresa Magbanua has departed from the Escoda Shoal after successfully completing its mission. In a statement, Bersamin says the BRP Teresa Magbanua returns home after successfully performing sentinel duties for over 5 months despite challenges such as dealing with a bigger group of trespassers, navigating harsh conditions, and the crew surviving on limited provisions. He said the success of the mission was due to the commitment and hard work of the crew and that the ship is heading back to home port to undergo necessary repairs, address the medical needs of some crew members, and allow them to reunite with their loved ones. After being resupplied and repaired, Bersamin says the BRP Teresa Magbanua will return to its mission alongside other PCG and AFP assets in protecting the country's sovereignty. Meanwhile, the Philippine Coast Guard clarified that the pullout of the BRP Teresa Magbanua from Escoda Shoal does not mean a withdrawal of presence in the West Philippine Sea. According to Commodore J. Tariela, PCG spokesperson on the West Philippine Sea, the Coast Guard's vessel had accomplished its mission, such as stopping off the reclamation activities in Escoda Shoal, protecting the marine environment, and assisting Filipino fisherfolks. Tariela attributes the vessel's return to severe weather conditions, the structural damage the ship incurred on August 31, and the critical shortage of supplies as some crew members are already dehydrated and surviving on rice porridge or lugaw. However, Tariela stressed that this does not mean the PCG is abandoning its position in Escoda Shoal. He says other Coast Guard vessels will continue sovereign patrols, not only in Escoda but across the entire West Philippine Sea, and that the country's presence in Escoda Shoal and the whole West Philippine Sea is in line with international law, including the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea and the arbitral ruling in favor of the Philippines. The House of Representatives assures efficient and accountable use of public funds as it started the plenary deliberations on the proposed 6.3 trillion peso national budget for 2025. In his speech, House Speaker Martin Romualdez says the chamber will act as guardians of the national purse and will ensure that every peso allocated will be spent wisely, effectively, and with absolute accountability. He also stresses that hypocrisy and the disregard for public trust would not be tolerated in Congress, and the House will not yield to external pressure or special interests. He says the proposed national budget would advance the government's 8-point socio-economic agenda and the Philippine Development Plan 2023 to 2028. The lower chamber aims to pass next year's spending bill on September 25. In news overseas, Donald Trump was declared safe as the Federal Bureau of Investigation confirmed a new assassination attempt on the Republican presidential candidate on Sunday. Trump was golfing on his course in West Palm Beach, Florida, when U.S. Secret Service agents spotted and fired on a gunman hiding in some bushes near the area's property line. Law enforcers arrested the suspect who dropped an AK-47 style assault rifle after fleeing the scene via vehicle. The FBI declined to comment on the suspect, which CNN, New York Times, and Fox News initially identified as 58-year-old Ryan Wesley Ruth of Hawaii. The White House, meanwhile, says President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris had been briefed about the incident and were relieved to know that he is safe. Biden commended the Secret Service and its law enforcement partners as he ordered to ensure that they have every capability to protect Trump. Harris condemned the attack in a social media post, saying violence has no place in America. The former U.S. president was previously injured in an assassination attempt during a campaign rally in Pennsylvania on July 13. He's facing off against Harris, who is running for the Democrats on the November 5 election. And that's the latest and the biggest stories on the Pna Headlines. For more news updates, visit our website pna.gov.ph or our Facebook and Dex account, the Philippine News Agency. The Pna Headlines is also streamed via the Servicio Facebook page. You may also watch the Pna Headlines through the Philippine News Agency's YouTube account and via the News and Information Bureau website under PNA News. Are you ready for the most wonderful time of the year? It's 100 days before Christmas. I'm Marita Muaje. This is the PNA Headlines, bringing stories that unite the nation.